okay.
Yeah.
So we're not live?
We
Good.
are
Oh,
we are
wow.
live now.
Ah, fuck.
All right, now we're live. Now we're
Please,
live.
no, please.
Okay.
Chat, tell me you didn't hear that.
Yeah, I think-
Please.
Okay.
For the sake of this stream, please tell me that didn't make it through.
I think we're
That was
good now.
so funny.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Some small technical issues. One, I'll run out of disk space.
My
Too
bad.
much stuff on the hard drive. And
That's the other hard drive.
That's smart man. So guys, tonight Swiss is going on a holiday very, very soon, and he's going to be giving his seed phrase away. So stay tuned. More important things to come. But yeah, gentlemen, markets, things. We just spoke a little bit about shit being essentially not fucking great for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
What happens now? Do we think we've got moon cycle things happening?
I think there's some interesting sort of inflection points that we're seeing in the market at the moment. And it'll be interesting to see how it actually ends up resolving. But there's a couple of things that's quite interesting from the CME futures and ETF side, because the CME futures open interest is now back to ETF approval highs. So it's reduced down a lot. So I think last week a lot of the selling was CME futures driven, as people were sort of unwinding those positions, probably coming into the halving. Then the ETF flows have sort of dried up from Larry Fink's side. Like they're only sort of doing like 20 million a day now. Grayscale went pretty hard the last few weeks, but even they have kind of like slowed down a little bit. So from like a momentum perspective, that whole side of things is like quite slowing down quite rapidly. So it'll be interesting to see how the market takes that, given that like we've had a pretty down week and huge liquidation run last week as well. So that's been interesting. But then at the same time, if you look at the futures market, like the funding rates and everything right now, like we're going back into sort of negative territory, which if I pull up the Le Heat map, then I don't think I'm sharing my screen with you guys.
Wonel, can you check the stream for Sanko?
Can do.
Yeah, it seems to be not working.
Yeah.
It's ended. Okay.
I was literally about to send a little message, but yeah, I was like,
let's try this again. God damn. Okay. We Gucci now? Yeah, we Gucci. Sorry guys, technical issues all around. Okay. Yeah, we're back. The stream seems to be working. Yeah. So as I was saying, I guess like funding looks like if you put the slider all the way to like the hottest it can be, like you're seeing a lot of like blue, so negative days on a lot of the coins. And like Bitcoin's been sitting in like negative territory for, on and off the last like 24, 48 hours, which is interesting. So I think it's like, either trends reversing and it actually pays to be short, or we're sort of at an inflection point now where people, there's not really like any aggressors like coming in to buy, but the aggressors that were selling sort of had their bit of a move and maybe staying a little bit too aggressive, hence the negative funding rates. But it'll be interesting to see if like there's a bullish player that like steps in, or some sort of catalyst that like changes it to the upside.
Like the halving.
Yeah. Like halving of my portfolio is all that's really happened since the halving. So
yeah,
nice.
I feel like the halving was one of those events where it was very widely publicized and it didn't really do much to the market.
Yeah, the halving was one of those things where it's like, it's funny because work was like, we need to have people on for the halving to cover what happens. And it's like, apart from fees and stuff, it's just like, okay, now miners today get paid a little bit less.
Yeah, and historically,
So,
nothing's really happened on a halving day. Like,
no,
like halving days have never really been amazing. It's always
yeah,
been like months after the halving.
yeah,
Which I think is like pretty like if the ETF stuff like picks up again, like like it was, and so like your demand side is quite large, and then all of a sudden your supply side is halved from the miner reward side, like that's super bullish Bitcoin. But if the momentum's all died down from these ETF flows and all of that, then it can be pretty boring. But I guess like you've got to reduce demand and also reduce supply, so maybe it just chops around here for the next few months, which would be good.
I do wonder if it's like it's not enough of a supply reduction to be as apart from minor profitability long term. I do wonder about market dynamics of like back in the olden days, it was kind of like 12 BTC per block, so like every 10 minutes, fucking hitting the market, like that's significant. But now it's like it's still a significant amount in dollar terms, but in terms of like overall volume, it's like I'm not sure that we'll see that kind of like reflexivity that we've seen in past cycles. It'll be a bit more chill and kind of like boring on that side, like less supply shock of like, oh my god, there's so much less. Fucking run it up. It's just like, everyone's buying it that wants to buy it, and that much hitting the market, like an extra 3 per 10 minutes. Anyway, just my just my thoughts.
I think the people that that were always buying Bitcoin understood the halving as one of their decisions to essentially buy it. So it's like the halving actually doesn't really mean that much as time goes on, because the people that understand it have already started to buy for that reason. So it's kind of comes back to this idea that price is more indicative of overall sentiment than the fundamental halving itself. Because like Warren said, like historically there's not really much that happens. It's usually the price that will then lead the conclusion that the halving was impactful, if that makes sense. So I think it's good. Obviously, I don't have any like queries about the halving. It's just it's I think price already making new all-time highs is more impactful than the halving. Maybe I haven't quite decided yet, but like that's how I'm looking at it at the moment.
Yeah, like that's the one factor now that's like completely different from like any of the previous cycles, is just the fact that it's hit all-time high prior to that halving date, and it kind of like throws me off a bit, and I guess most other people too. Because like at least when the halving dates happen in prior cycles, you go, all right, we're X% off the all-time high. Once we reach there, we'll have that continuation. Whereas like we kind of got there before like the catalyst event. And then now there's like, okay, what's driving us next? And we've already like we've done the ETF thing, boom. So that's that catalyst. We've done the halving now, so that's the next catalyst. So what's the next big thing that like Bitcoin's looking forward to sort of drive that further speculation into the asset? Other than like Larry Fink going on TV and like bull posting it.
Yeah, it does seem to be that thing around just like hyper mega speculation, hopefully. Of like, hopefully lots of people just want to fucking own it.
We start shilling it to our nans. That's what happens.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I just pulled up the chart that shows like the previous halving date versus the current halving date and like where price was relative to it. So like, this is a weekly time frame. So it took sort of 26 weeks. So like 6 months basically from the last halving to breach all-time high. And then once it did, it just like accelerated through it. So, since we're already at all-time high, it's kind of like 26 weeks out of October range now, which, be interesting. But it'd be so funny if we just fucking nuked from here and this was the entire cycle.
What
Don't
would
say
you
that
prefer?
shit.
What would you prefer? Would you prefer a nuke to 40k in a flash crash, or range here for 3 months?
Range here for 3 months. I think if you want a longer drawn out continuous cycle, then you want a range. I think if you flash crash, you'll probably get a huge bid, and you could you could see a much quicker recovery and a much quicker up. But I think the longer the range, the bigger the move after the range. So, and historically, BTC's like just got ranged through summer, the northern hemisphere summer period. Like I don't know if you remember last year, but like from March all the way to like October, it was in the same fucking range. So
Yeah, that was quite hilarious actually. That was a good time to be around.
it's when we met, so great time to be alive.
Yeah, no, that was I forgot about that like time period. That's a boring year, kind of.
It
Like,
was, but it wasn't. Like we had the whole Pepe thing,
yeah.
right? We had like the ETH meme coins. We had what else we have? Fucking the hamster racing. Like
Oh, hams! Holy shit!
and then like
Forgot
the
about that one.
Solana stuff was like starting to come back up again, and then the back end of the year was like really good with Solana sort of
Yeah.
cementing it. So
Back end of the year would have paid for literally any fucking losses throughout 2023. If you were
Yeah.
losing every single day, that literally October through to December would have paid for it all.
yeah, for sure.
Literally, Brotato steak dinner in August. Like shit started to get really good from that moment on, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. Like we actually all met, and then shit started really moving, like good and proper.
Yeah. You're welcome, chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks to us, everyone. We were responsible.
Yeah. Speaking of Bitcoin, with the halving came runes. That
Yeah.
hasn't really been as exciting as I guess everyone was like preempting it at this stage in time. But I'd say it's largely because the infra around runes is probably not ready for degen activity yet, since in order for you to like buy a rune, you had to like have a node and scribe it yourself and all sorts of things to set up. So I don't think anything's really happened there yet. But Magic Eden came out today and announced their runes trading interface through their platform.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Can you guys talk about runes? Because this is one of those things that I've completely just like not been a part of. I'm like, I haven't looked into it. I haven't like thought about it. I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, seems cool. I'm happy with my Solana shitcoining, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to venture out. I just can't be fucked doing it again. I'm not ready.
So my view is like I haven't really touched anything outside of like the pups coin on Solana because I like being late early.
Yeah.
And I'll wait for things to sort of settle out a little bit, but I've sort of tried to keep my hand on the pulse on it a little bit. But I was talking with you guys earlier before the Poad, and I did notice that Bitcoin Pepe Matrix and Satoshi Nakamoto seem to be the two ones that are top on Magic Eden. But then this one here is claiming that it's rune number 1, and Swiss, you said it's not quite rune number 1. Can you explain what that's all about?
Yeah. So did you have that link?
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
Cool. So if you go to the right where it says trending and just filter for oldest.
Oldest. Yep. Oh yeah, uncommon goods.
This is probably another reason why you don't have to rush. So the very first one is uncommon goods, which is what Casey Rodemer came out and said would be the first one. And basically, you've got plenty of time to mint that. That actually does not close until the next halving. Then you've got a free range of tokens that you can mint afterwards.
Yep.
Do you see how there's some there that says not mintable?
Yes, I see that.
Yeah.
Can you explain?
So basically, people are reserving the rights to their ticker token, essentially, and then we'll open up the possibility to mint this or airdrop it to holders. So essentially what you're seeing is the start of the like stages of selective distribution of these tokens. So essentially, it's not been a free for all. There's been a free for all to get your inscription minted first, of which you can see in that order. But if you scroll down to where it says Risk Genesis Rune, what is that number?
Risk number 8, Risk Genesis Rune.
Yeah, so I think, may have this wrong, but I'm just going off the fact that it says Risk. I think that's going to be reserved for the Risk protocol of the ordinal collection that already exists. And then if you go back, and if you scroll down to where it says Magic Internet Money.
Magic Internet Money. I heard about this one.
Yeah. So that might, so that might get airdropped to like the Wizards or something like that. So essentially, they can like be quite selective with when they distribute the token to their holder base. So like you might want to, if I was like new to this, you might want to mint some of the uncommon goods just as like a meme that you get to be a part of the first rune protocol. Maybe mint some of the others, but ultimately it looks like these can be used as a way to engage with like selective communities through various airdrops. The one thing that it does help with is that you don't quite yet see what the infra is, so you don't actually have to rush to release any of your token supply if you don't believe like the infra is not there yet, which probably works quite well because you can sort of taper, not sure if that's the right word, but like taper the amount of like wealth generation and not make it all at once, if that makes sense. So if you are like a pups holder, it's not as if your pups token is going to go to zero. As soon as you get the runes token, they can draw it out, make it more inclusive. I don't really know, but basically, like, you're right, the infra is not there yet. Not really too much you can do apart from mint whatever's available or just wait till anything's airdropped and there's a place to trade this stuff. I don't know how easy it is to get this stuff on exchanges, but we'll just have to wait and see if it ends up going to an exchange.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense. I noticed that like some of them have like finished minting, and then you've got like a bunch of like, well, most of these seem to be like dodgy ass fucking tickers. But like, how did one get themselves to be like uncommon goods and be like the first rune? Was that just like paying a big enough fee?
Well, it's the creator's coin, Casey.
He made runes, right? I see.
Yeah, so he probably got it in there, but yeah, you'd have to be like the first. You'd have to have been very quick with your own node to be able to inscribe it, I'd imagine.
Right. Yeah, I did see someone paid like 750 BTC to like mine that block, in like fees or something like that. So there was like it was something like 500. It was like $800,000 that was like spent to like mine when that block came out. So I assumed there was like some shit going on with miners competing to be the ones that made that one.
Yeah. Again, I don't really know what this looks like as the end result because, as specified, it's just like a way to shitcoin. And again, like as Tom said, he's had a good experience on Solana. People have had a good experience on ETH.
Yeah.
Unless this somehow comes out as like a very fun experience or very unique experience that attracts not just the Sol and ETH people, but also like newer participants. We may not be looking at the next big thing, but at least it's something innovative on Bitcoin that drives fees for all those holders out there, like Dark.
Nice. Like Dark. Speaking of Dark, he's posted the good old MVRV score on the chat.
MVRV?
Yeah. It's see if it's close to fair value. So market value versus realized value. That's like a good way to pick tops historically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. The look into Bitcoin website. Isn't there like a particular number that they say it's a good time to sell? Dark, are you looking at this calling a top right now?
Please don't, Dark.
7.
No.
7 is the number. Yeah,
he told us to pull up the pool model, or whatever it is.
Oh, the pool multiple. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, and I just said, how about you pull some bitches?
Good
That's
stuff.
Good. That's good. Awesome.
Yeah, no.
I guess they're only
so
little...
runes.
So runes.
Runes.
What do you think, Swiss? I know I was probably overly bullish last pod on runes. But what do you think actually plays out here?
I think it is. I don't know. To be honest, like the fact that they've been able to reserve tickers and not release them is good. It means that you can then drag out your community. Like if I was in that position, if I was someone that had like all this hype and all this overpromise, and then I minted the ticker and then said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll release this soon." I can sort of keep dragging out whatever narrative or shill I wanted to do. But like, I can't see an example of this of where it's under the radar for early people to get in and make multiples, and I can't see a scenario where this doesn't just end up like the ape coin. If I'm honest.
Yeah, sure. Do you
I
think it becomes
there is some
not under the radar simply because people are too lazy? Like people know about it but just don't do it because it's like I can't be fucked.
Yes and no. There is a little bit of that because like the proven rule is like everyone knows about airdrop farming, yet people miss out on like generational wealth from just like not putting in a little bit of effort.
Like me and Gito Soul.
So yeah, so there's always that. So there's like going to be people that hear about it and can't be fucked, and then will buy later because they feel like they've missed out.
Yeah.
It's just that I personally don't like, and I don't mean this in like any disrespect to anyone who's like listening or here with us, but like if people that have like made lots of money off Sol meme coins start talking about the opportunities for Rune when they weren't around with ordinals or BRC20s, it's really hard for me to like be on the same page as them, just because I feel like I've like understood a little bit more of what has transpired on the Bitcoin blockchain a little bit more than just Runes itself. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say. Like I would mint some stuff, have a bit of fun, set and forget about it, come back in like a couple of months, because it took BRC20s like half a year for them to go up.
Yeah.
But
Good.
I think, again, just collect the good stuff. Because I think ordinals are going to capture anything more than, like, I think ordinals and NFTs are still very retail focused, more so than degeneracy on chain.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if you were going to make the bet of degeneracy on chain, I think it's pretty clear where the Phantom wallet is in contrast to its placing on the App Store.
Yeah.
And I think that you are relying on participants to not only be degenerate on chain, but then disregard Sol as the best to keep searching for newer opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think with the proven market cap displacements of Sol against other chains like AVAX, it's pretty clear to see that that has already played out as a winning alternative. But in saying that, I think if you have like a soft spot for BTC and understand like how far it's come and this sort of stuff that's happening on it, then you should be really looking forward to just like playing around with this stuff, but not in the hopes of making like 100 X's, but just more for the fact of just, having some fun on BTC, which is what this whole protocol was designed for.
Yeah, nice. Has there been much like pushback around the fact that this is now existing? Because like I felt like, this seems like a bit of an upgrade, that like quite a substantial upgrade, like to for them to have now included this as part of like all of the, I guess the operators are now saying that, okay, I've got to upgrade the actual protocol here to be able to allow for this. Like there didn't seem to be much like talk of any hard forks or anything like that.
Yeah.
At the time.
There probably will be some, actually, if I'm honest, because the chain becomes unusable. If you want to send like $50, you really can't do that. So it becomes like a chain that you can use. Like if you're sending hundreds of millions of dollars, then you'd be laughing at the fact that you can do it instantaneously, and it's only a small fee of like $100 or whatever it is. But I think there will be discussions. I think Udi talked about this a while back about turning it into a proof of stake chain. I don't know if that was a piss take or a meme, but yeah, I think this will drive something. I don't know if it's a hard fork. I don't know if it's a soft fork, but I do believe that like that sort of like mass state of change would be really cool to look out for on the horizon. And I think that this sort of stuff drives that. At the moment, I haven't come across anyone that says they use Bitcoin to transact, and the fees have been an issue. But I have come across the argument that lots of higher fees are great for miners, and like that's I guess the situation right now. Yeah, I actually forgot what you asked as a question.
It just
Whether or not it would.
if there's people that have started like challenging the fact that, or like operators that are saying I don't want to take part in this upgrade. You know, I feel like this is bad for the chain. Yada yada.
Oh, I'm sure there are some out there, and I think they have
Yeah.
I think they have a perfectly good argument. Like if it costs like a couple of cents to send
Mm.
money in the past, and now it's costing hundreds of dollars, like yeah, like, that'd be pretty annoying. It's whether or not the priority of the use of the chain is above the priority of what the miners are looking for to get out of their expenditure,
Yeah.
which comes back to their whole like incentivization model for the network itself. And then there you go, you can talk about like the proof of stake versus proof of work, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But at the moment, at this point in time, I think it's a good thing that this is all going on the main
Yeah.
chain because it drives innovation, change, users, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely made it a lot more interesting for me, like just from a personal perspective. Like I'm now curious to actually start playing around with Bitcoin a lot more.
Yeah, because like when was the last time you actually had BTC in a wallet that you used to transact with stuff? Like
When
that
I
whole
sold
experience is very
to buy
fun.
Solana. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's why I sort of like enjoyed being around for all that sort of stuff in the last couple of months or whatever it was. But yeah, it was like that same experience that I had with Ethereum, and then just like trying to buy dumb shit with it, and just
Yeah.
being like, oh, cool, this is like my own little wallet. This is how I get to spend this like magic internet money. Except
Yeah.
this time you're doing
This is
it
my
with like
own
the original.
Yeah.
my own little wallet. It's a
I do love
I
how
do
like we're complaining about $50 fees on Bitcoin when like that's like a standard like on Ethereum, like when things
literally.
get hot. So I think if Bitcoin's like worst fees like it was the other day, like it was pretty bad, but it was like 50 to like $100. I'm like, yeah, that's just like the average time on Ethereum, and like there's a few things going on. So I'm like, if that's a bad BTC gets, like who the fuck cares? Like it's not that bad in comparison. But like I think ETH's like
Yeah,
Gwei today was like 5 Gwei, so it was like the lowest it's been in a long fucking time.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
like
ETH is significantly improved though, which I've come to notice is that like when you send and receive it, it's quite quick, and your swaps
Yeah,
aren't too bad on the main chain. So I can only imagine
100%.
L2s are a lot better.
Yeah,
It's just that like this is why like I did I say this? I can't remember who I said this to, but I feel like if you bought ETH under 2K, that's like the best position you could be in because you're essentially front running. Like, because I started to get like this idea that like BTC becomes incredibly bearish if it can't seem to pull off any sort of like
yeah,
um,
I remember
change
this.
to
Yeah,
the overall concept of the chain. So essentially, what you have going on now is like people trying to do stuff on the BTC network, which is fine. However, if they can't really transact with it, and there's like high fees involved for the average person, and then people start to build out layer 2 solutions for it. Basically, if it goes through a long enough time frame of like maybe like a couple of years, and we can't really seem to build out anything that's solid in terms of infrastructure for people to use it, it essentially like confirms that ETH was like the best the best alternative after all, because of its ability to go down the path of like L2s and then make the chain usable and work through its unique problems. So like essentially BTC is now kind of on the clock to fix these issues, whereas like ETH never had to be on the clock. It just had to innovate at a slow, consistent pace, which I think ends up being a better
longer
like
term
method moving forward, if that makes sense, because essentially it built out its base layer to be deflationary due to its mechanics.
Yeah.
And then built out L2s that used ETH as the settlement layer. I might have that wrong, but essentially they're using ETH as like the gas token.
Yeah.
Whereas like I just realized that like Stacks is going through its Nakamoto upgrade, and essentially with its transaction times being significantly reduced to like a couple of seconds from like 15 to 20 minutes, that's incredibly good for the user experience on chain. However, if you get like a 10x increase in users on the chain and the fees spike on stacks, which they did during the whole inscription mania that we had on Sol and all these other chains, it might end up being not the greatest, because then you're actually paying the same sort of fees, but just on a different token that's not even the BTC main chain. So it's essentially like BTC is essentially now going through the same innovation that ETH is going through to make their main chain work more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the L2s for ETH are like going to zero, it's the technology that ends up becoming more important.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of want to make sure that whatever comes out of this ICO era in terms of layer 2s on top of BTC, you'd kind of want to hope that there is at least one that ends up working and reducing the fees and making it usable, even if their native token ends up trending towards zero. So yeah, something to keep in mind in the next couple of years. But I think if you were buying ETH before it hit 4 figures, that trade might just carry you through like the next 2 cycles as one of like the best positions to be in, because you're essentially hedging against the fact that like BTC won't work out and won't stay at a certain price. Dark. Bitcoin is going from a life raft to a clown car. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so
tell me how you
now
really
I'm not
feel.
Yeah.
So I still think the bet for this cycle is on the ICO mania innovation on BTC, because I think that's just in my opinion, a fun bet to take. But now it definitely gets me thinking, because ETH no longer has to rush to compete. It's just they've already set the pace essentially. They've already set the
That's true.
the framework to solve their own issues, and now BTC has to go through that, which is very interesting to watch actually, because BTC was always about a store of value and freedom of transaction and all that sort of stuff. And then now that there's this thing that's happening on chain, which drives up the rewards for miners, which is good, it's just like whether or not that is sustainable enough long term for the majority of users, of which it claimed to be for, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think like to your point around the ETH development cycle thing, like for last cycle, like there was nothing really happening on BTC. Like Taproot was like the thing that was like huge that happened right at November 2021, which is like end of the cycle. But like there was no like, active community sort of really pushing sort of the limits, because it was really like hard pushed into that like store of value meme. And whereas ETH has had like the ETH Foundation's like been working on this shit for years and years and years, and constantly like iterating on improving itself. So and they've had that like thought leadership around that and been able to fund that for a long period of time. So I definitely agree that like, from that perspective, like ETH's like almost had a head start, because like, Satoshi just fucking G'd it out of there like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and it was like peace, and we didn't really like do much with it after that. And then to your point around ETH just working is like probably super highly valuable, like regardless of how expensive it is to use, it's super reliable. It always works like you expect it to work, and doesn't give you like half the drama that like a Solana or a fucking BTC will give you, like in terms of delays in like transactions or all of that. So definitely agree that like ETH's just got that down pat. Their only like downside and the only thing that people shit on it for at this stage in time is like its price of its gas fee. And then if they are using an L2, then it's like liquidity fragmentation, bad user experience, centralization of centralized sequences and that with the L2s. So which are all things that'll get fixed in time. It's just that the pace at which those things get fixed is just a lot slower. But
yeah, well, essentially, they don't have to rush, because essentially, like, you start like, I don't know if last cycle there was enough time for everyone to get on the same page about the issues that people were fronted with. Maybe the only issue that I can really remember off the top of my head was that ETH had high fees, but like Solana's just gone through a phase where not all the transactions are processed. So there is a period of time where your transaction may not go through and you have to try it multiple times.
Yeah.
ETH has gone through the process where it's had high fees and needs to come up with a solution. And then BTC has gone through the process of having high fees and then, needs to come up with, maybe it doesn't need to come up with a solution straight away. Like, I don't think that my recent thoughts were needed to be addressed maybe this cycle, but like more of a sense of just understanding how this has changed and what the effects could be of it long term. But essentially, like, we're now like we're pretty up to speed with all of this stuff as like second cyclists. So I'm sure that there's other people thinking the same as well.
Yeah.
So it's just about like how these chains, I guess, navigate through these issues. But maybe we don't really need to care as long as the price goes up. So like maybe none of this even matters.
Yeah. I will say, in terms of Solana, though, and maybe, Tom, you might be able to back me up on this, is ever since Phantom pushed the update on their wallet, like, it has worked every time. I haven't had a single issue. And it really makes me feel like maybe Phantom caused a lot more drama around the front-end user experience in terms of failed transactions than, sort of what was actually happening, because a lot of those like quote unquote failed transactions, according to like the Solana team or like the people working on it, were like, they're literally just spam that isn't making it in. And then at the time everyone was saying, well, like real user transactions are falling within those. But I honestly, because I didn't actually have that much drama when I was using BonkBot at all. Like, because I was able to adjust priority fees, etc. And like maybe one or two times I really had an issue, but other than that, it was like completely fine. But using Phantom was always like, what the fuck? Nothing actually works. But now Phantom's pushed the update, like it just fucking works, like every time. So I wonder how much, like going back, like in hindsight, it was just Phantom just not having their shit together, over the fact that the Solana network was really that bad as it was sort of made out to be.
I think it was a healthy mix of both. Like, I think there was like at the time that like 75, like supposedly 75% of transactions were failing. It was all like non-vote transactions that was spam that should have been filtered like at a much like lower level. And I think Mert was talking about that a fair bit. And again, Mert, I'm going to butcher this if you ever listen to this, and I'm sorry. Please don't fucking kill me. I'm just
he will
I'm
kill
a simple
you too.
man.
Like he will rock up to your place.
I'm a simple man who's going to interpret some facts wrong here. But yeah, no. Essentially, it was like the way that I kind of saw it was just like most of it was spam bot transaction, and I don't think that like all the other wallets like Solana, Solend, and Flare, you can literally adjust your fees, to make, you could adjust your priority fees, but on Phantom you couldn't, and that's why it was just like you're getting the whatever the mid-level thing that Phantom does just for UX to be somewhat clean, all the time. So yeah, I think it was a lot to do with just everyone being on Phantom and then being like, what the fuck? Like, I can't, this was usable, now it isn't. Because I remember there was like a 3-4 day period of just like genuinely useless. Like, I couldn't get money to go from one wallet to another.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? What's going on here? So, no. And now that this update's through, it feels a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Solana, our boy Styx, who's out to dinner with his mother tonight, has just posted about something really cringe that's just happened. But Frank DeGods is returning to Solana.
Please,
rated
no.
for a fucking 20x before returning.
Guess where he's not moving to? That's right.
Bitcoin.
Jail.
Oh, fuck. Jail.
Could you imagine Frank is like, yeah, we're migrating to Bitcoin. Like, all right, guys, good cycle. Pack it up.
Why did the Woo blockchain pick this up? Why is this even news, man?
Yeah. It's.
Do you remember when like Woo blockchain would like tweet like stuff, and then like the whole market would nuke on like random shit that he would tweet?
Yeah, dude. Woo is that's one of those sources that really shifts shit. You're like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank fucking like DeGods are one of those. I think I've ragged on them a bunch on the pod before, but like DeGods are one of those collections
Deservedly.
that I'm just like, holy shit. Like whenever you see, they're worse than apes, man. Whenever you see like, oh no, I got drained, or just like the stone cold dumbest take you could possibly imagine. It's like, what PFP is it? Yep.
It's a DeGod.
Do you know what
that-
PFP wouldn't have a dumbass take?
A pudgy penguin?
Correct. And a
Or a
sog.
peepo.
And a sog. Yeah, come on. Yeah, definitely not a sog.
Also,
Definitely not a sog.
I'm thinking of selling everything I own and buying only V1 punks.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's a bold
All right.
strategy, Cotton. Let's
I,
let's see how it works out for him.
Let's have a look. V1. Oh.
Did you
My
know
one.
that someone has finally decided to list a Kevin for 55 ETH?
What? What?
Mm.
What are they
Yeah,
called?
55.
zeros short.
What, Pokemons? What are they? No, they're not Pokemons. They're
Pixelmons.
Pixelmons.
They actually do a lot of volume, to be honest.
I've noticed a bit of Kevin Love recently, and I thought maybe that was a Brotato related pump, to be honest. So
You think I just decided to pump the entirety of this market, did you?
no, I
Is that
just
what
feel
you thought?
like our fans are just watching and they're like, well, Swiss is in. Got to go for a Kevin.
One day they're going to see one listed. You got to click on the right one. You want the OG one.
Kevin.
Oh, you want the original Kevin? Oh, Swiss.
Yeah.
Speaking of, dude, I have a present for you.
Again.
So you know how I got you some Kevin merch.
You
Yeah.
what? Bro.
So I did an interview with the founder of Mon Protocol, which is like just the founder of Mon. I don't know the name of the exact company of it was a few weeks ago, and I have a short memory. But yeah, spoke with the founder of Mon Protocol, whatever the thing is
Sticks
that
coming.
essentially is Pixelmon. That's it. Yeah. And they were like, and I told them, oh, I've got a friend who really likes Kevin. And they sent me some merch.
Fuck yeah.
And then I get a message the other day being like, hey, congratulations, you're getting 2 merch packages. So
Oh, nice.
they accidentally sent me another one, and it's like twice the size of the other one. I haven't opened it, so I don't know what's in it, but I think it's like 5 shirts in there, dude.
Yeah. Did they send did they send a mental health plan with them as well?
I think so. I think you get your full Medicare rebate. You get your full 10 sessions free of therapy. So off you go. But yeah, more Kevin merch for Swiss.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Nice. Some of it's not bad actually. I don't mind that.
Right, live.
I just can't believe
they
that
are doing
really exists.
they're doing a I don't know if they've done it yet, but they did like an ICO, or I don't know if it's an ICO, IDO lottery of sorts for all of the Pixelmon holders to essentially buy into receive Mon tokens.
Okay.
Which was kind of cool. I don't know if I'm successful. I really should check back to see. But I was a bit stiff. They didn't list Kevin as one of like the super rare ones. Like they had like different tiers of amounts that you could get access to, and like Kevin was just a common one. And I was like, come on, guys, this is your mascot.
I did tell them that someone was a bit disgruntled that Kevin didn't come up as like a hyper rare or like an epic.
Did you actually?
Gently, as like a joke. Don't worry, I wasn't like he was fucking irate. He was inconsolable. He bought a Kevin and he's sad. No. But yeah, no, that's pretty funny.
That's good.
So I think they have the highest RR right now. So if you buy one, which is just under 4 ETH, and then sell it for 2,000 ETH, I think that would be a pretty decent trade.
I agree. I actually might look at buying one just because we spoke about them so much, and I've got FOMO just talking about it.
Well,
Kevin.
I think that they should do okay. It's just that I don't know about NFTs at the moment because they really have not been pumping off too much. Like,
yeah, I feel like they will.
Pudgies have been the only really
no, they've been
performer,
shit. They've been shit.
Oh, like holistically, like over the last maybe 6
holistically.
months.
But yeah, the last like ever since Feb, they've just been like ever since the rest of the market actually started pumping, they've just been terrible. Like even apes have like they're a good 2 ETH ahead of them now. Yeah, the Remilios and Miladies have probably been like the most outstanding performers recently.
Yeah, yeah. Sogs have been good as
Oh,
well.
Sogs, yeah.
Um,
You got lots of love for the Sogs. They,
Peepos are doing all right as well. I checked the other day.
just look at these things, man. They're just so good. They're just so good. Love them.
Indeed. But who the fuck is buying Bored Apes? That's what I want to know. Who's
Bro,
thinking, yeah, 12 ETH. That's how much I want to spend on an ape. I'm just being an absolute cope seether here, but I'm
I
curious.
I've actually been
That's
like
like 4 Kevins.
somewhat tempted.
Exactly.
If they go
To buy an
like,
ape?
yeah, like, uh, if I was like liquid enough, like it wasn't like happy with like positions I had, I'd probably like if you got the chance to buy apes under 10 ETH, I think it's a pretty good buy because like as much as like it's cringe as fuck, there's like a huge cope element to it now where like people just shit on it all the time. And like who the fuck
Yep.
would want to hold this? And it's kind of like one of those like fade the crowd trades where like the many go to the few and then like the few go to the many. And I feel like
Mm,
it's slowly becoming like we've gone from the many to the few. So there's not that many holders left and there's probably like 6 more months of like them sort of bleeding down, but maybe the bottom's in on it. I don't know. But
yeah. I don't know if I don't think the NFT cycle we had was like entirely something to like I don't think we'll ever see that mania again personally.
not to the same
Yep.
extent. I agree. I think
Yeah,
that was
and
a
thus
once in a like all of the stars aligned for that. Like 'cause everyone was like sitting at home, so
yeah.
what better way to flex
Yeah,
than with a
well,
digital picture?
it was also those types of people, right? Sort of
Mm,
people that were all about digital identity, art on chain, community, and stuff like that. I think they would have the flagship for all of this would have been so like easily spotted that they would have flocked in, and
yeah,
so now it's like what like can you punt on that isn't so obvious,
yeah.
then just it will go up again because it was once
Once hated,
something
yeah. That's the only
popular.
reason. Like I'm not like I would never probably take the trade.
Mm,
Was just simply because like it's just so much better shit to buy. But like I
yeah,
feel like there's probably a trade there, but like I'd just
Bored
rather
Apes
put it in
below
something else.
5, I'd get one. Like just out of pure stupidity. Like they won't, but I'm saying like, yeah, I'm a cope and seether, but yeah, I think that the thesis behind Bored Apes coming back, or just even having even the mildest of pumps to like 20 or 30 during
Mm,
a proper NFT, is the fact that they can hold at 12 now. It's like, okay, there's something there.
yeah.
mm,
I probably won't be a part of it, but yeah, no, it just Yuga
yeah,
has so much fucking money as well, and they just don't seem to be able to. They're almost like Teflon at this point. Like they just can't do anything dumb. Like, sorry, everything that they do that is
I was gonna say
silly.
what?
Just no. Sorry, everything that they do has been just so stupid, but nothing. Like it seems to be doing just fine. Like,
yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
all right, I guess fine. You guys, that's where it's gonna be.
yeah. I feel like I think you're right though. Like I think there will be like uh, a liquid versus a liquid state sort of pump because I think NFTs are quite good for that sort of environment. So while everything is like kind of flat, there probably is a period in time where everything catches a pump, and like what would be the best performer out of that? It would be cool to find out early, I guess.
I was just asking Dark, well, just asking the chat then some interesting things that happened this week, and you would have missed this, Swiss, but there was a bit of drama this week around this platform called ZK Casino. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's made
Oh, Dark
by.
got me Aloe in that one. He said, "Hey, do you want to buy into this? You can have my spot." And I said, "Yeah, man, for sure." Something happened to that. Has he set me up here? Oh dear.
Bro,
That's not
I'd
very
be
nice.
seriously worried about your bags. Um, but so there's this guy on Twitter, CT's, his name's Derivatives Monkey or
Oh,
derivatives
that
underscore
fucking
egg.
guy.
Fucking like well-known scammer.
Yeah.
People have been calling him out for a long time, but seems to still get around, like building shit and people still trusting what he's saying and that. Anyways, he's been building this ZK casino platform, and they did a blast style launch where it was like an L2, obviously ZK L2, where you could send your ETH to it, and then stake it or whatever it may be, and then you got points, and then you could get a token for those points. Well, instead,
Oh, more points. Yay.
instead of giving like token and but they said like all of the ETH that you send across will be returned back to you 1-to-1, and then like you get your points or whatever. But what they decided to do instead was basically convert all of that ETH and give you tokens instead. So
Oh, good.
so, and they've done this like EIP 3074, a game changer for ZK Casino Chain. And I'll just pull it up on the screen here. And like they talked around the noise and FUD that surround the new technologies, etc., etc. Whilst everyone's like, "What the fuck? I want my ETH back." And then everyone's like calling this guy out. Fucking, what the fuck are you doing? This is a rug. Like even getting community notes a bit on the timeline. And then because I think he's in Dubai, he then got doxxed. Like people were doxing his passport and shit like that. Apparently he's from like the Netherlands or something. And then there was like screenshots from this like Chinese Telegram group talking about like they've hired a hitman. They're going after him. They've contacted the Dubai police to get him arrested, like all sorts of shit. And yeah, he's just kind of stopped tweeting for the last like 24, 48 hours now. So he's either like gone into hiding or the Chinese hitmen have got him scrambled, as Dark said.
Holy shit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I think the best thing about ZK Casino is that it doesn't have any ZK tech in it at all. There's not a single bit. It's like an Arbitrum Nitro deploy. It's not anything special at all.
What in the fuck?
Yeah, no. So Derivatives Monkey's the kind of guy that yeah, I only ever see his name popping up with terrible things attached to it. Like I know a lot of people that do like freelance work in the crypto space that have not been paid for stuff they've done by that guy. And that's just kind of like, yeah, essentially the crypto equivalent of being like really terrible to the weight stuff. You just like, okay, man.
Pancakes Bro get rugged like 50K from him or something?
Yep, that happened there as well. He did a bunch of shit for him, did all his promo. They also did last year around, there was that thing where like some teens hit a guy riding his bike or something, and he was like a police chief or something. It was like a really viral video of like these teenagers in America killed a dude, just like they were joyriding and they like stole a car and then hit a cop, and their official ZK Casino account made some like really off-color joke about it, and even CT was like, oh nah, that's fucked. Like
Even CT.
even CT, you could literally say anything, do anything, and they were like, "Oh, nah, that's fucking not chill, dude." So I'm like, yeah, writing's on the wall there. Again, it's just not great.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But I did find like it somewhat hilarious that like they're organizing hitmen and shit like that for it. I think that came out pretty funny.
Reminded
They
of
were
not
paying in the potentially racist tokens on Solana. They were using that as the payment method.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. It'd be funny if they paid the hitmen in Zcash tokens.
Zcash tokens, yeah.
Hey, do you guys take Zcash? I've got a lot of it now.
Yeah.
Do you guys take Nicolas Cage?
Good
well,
shit.
this is a reminder to not fuck with the Chinese holders, huh?
Jesus Christ.
Never have I seen a group chat be like, "Yep, we've hired a hitman." Like you don't see that in Western group chats. The
tell people about it either, surely. What the fuck?
these WeChat groups are fucking hardcore, man. I'm not sure I want to be in it.
But yeah, I think like part of it being the fact that he was in Dubai as well, and like everyone was in Dubai this past week, probably added to it.
Just like, hey, buddy, where you at?
Yeah, yeah.
Derivatives Monkey Fight Night. Get him on. He can fight Ansem.
Speaking of, what the fuck? How good was that fight? So, Swiss, I don't know if you've seen any videos of it so far.
I haven't seen anything.
So there's a really good meme.
So bad.
This is one of my favorite memes from the whole thing. And you see that?
Yeah, I've seen this image. I have no idea what's happening in this.
I need to find some video of it because it was fucking brilliant.
It was pretty profound. I've never seen someone get in the ring and be that
like dude was like laughing and like
did it make you want to sell your Solana?
Yeah.
It was up there.
Yeah.
It was up there.
I was like minutes away of like just clicking the sell button at that point in time. Because it was that poor. But yeah, it was funny to watch. Like I think he tweeted and he said like about most of his friends collectively lost about $750,000 betting on him winning.
Surely you should have like thrown the fight, man.
He should have like. Why would you? Anyway, I'm being a cope boy on the pod this evening. It's just me being like, what's going on? But I'm like, fuck,
Tom
dude.
really wants to belt the crap out of someone at one of these events.
This is one of my favorite memes.
Dude, I saw the one where they like AI'd it onto the Dev Walk video. I had a good chuckle at that. But I do just think, I'm like, it is an inverse flex of like, I care that fucking little about this that I'm just going to show up and do whatever. But at the same time, if my friends had bets on me, I'd be trying to help the bros.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be like, okay, shit, guys. All right, no pressure.
I couldn't find it.
I think I saw Kobe's tweet where he's like, I will now no longer take the piss out of Barney as much anymore or something like that for fear of my own life.
Yeah. Genuinely a good boxer.
He was teeing off. I was quite impressed. It was probably one of the only cards that I was like, oi. I didn't watch all of it. I only watched little highlights because it happened at like midnight or some shit. And I was like, I'm going to be in bed.
It's like happened at midnight. I went to sleep, woke up at 6 a.m. and then woke up straight when the fight was on with Ansem. I was like, thank fuck I went to sleep because that would have been shit to stay up for.
Could you imagine staying up from midnight? Be like, cool, I'm going to watch the Ansem fight at 6 a.m. Just to watch that? You'd be like, okay, all right. God. My life has no meaning.
So you're going to do Crypto Fight Night next time, aren't you, Tom?
Not locked in, but it would be fun.
Z wants to do it as well.
I think Z. I'd love to train with Z/train Z for it. I think it'd be dope.
Who does he fight though? That's the real question.
Anyone.
Bull.
I literally have
protege.
Anyone in the chat that wants to fight Z.
Come on, swing at the boys. No, I think Z would. I have pretty high confidence that Z would fuck up most people. Like, that aren't 20 kilos heavier than him. Like, I have.
I've seen that man demolish a bottle of milk in like 30 seconds. So.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, for the sake of this podcast, I mean, no, Z would be so bad at fighting. He would be terrible.
Yeah, he didn't run for 4 hours on Sunday. No.
He didn't ride his bike for like 8 hours on Saturday. No. He hasn't done years of Muay Thai in the past. No. Fucking incredible, that man.
That's the thing.
I do not know how you can do it for that long and not go insane. Man's got
he's an absolute heartthrob.
Yeah,
he is a handsome young man. But yeah, I think Z would be fantastic on Fight Night, especially if he keeps up the cardio base. Because as we've seen, the importance of actually having a fucking gas tank really matters.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like people are just like, no, I'll just get real strong and hit people. It's like that means next to nothing unless you're actually trained.
Yeah, for sure.
In which case, fuck yeah, go for it. But like, you really should be. I just don't understand why Ansem why whoever was training him, or he probably didn't train, but
I don't
just
don't
go
think
on
he
like a
cared.
jog a week and you
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
been okay. Or like a month. If you just gone on 2 jogs, like we're talking 20, 30 minutes max, it would have given you enough like, oh, okay, cool, that you didn't die in the 3rd round. To the point where the ref had to call it off. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's bad. Anyway,
Oh
I'm
man.
done.
Should we get KSI on the pod?
Oh,
We
shit.
should,
JCR.
dude. Okay. Did you see KSI tweeting about the fucking Dixie?
What? No, what's happened? I've been kind of touching grass a little bit. What's happening?
I'll just pull it up. He just tweeted. He said Dixie will make things difficult for Bitcoin. Like, bruh. And then like, Trader Penis comes in and is like, what's your thoughts on the Dixie? And he's gone. He's been saying that it's in a range, yada yada. But like, this guy just thinks he's fucking GCR at this point, and then like he's quote tweeted himself saying, "Well, like as if he was right." Like literally a couple days after saying, "Oh, I'm starting to buy some shit coins," and like he's bought whiff at like $2.20 or some shit. Like, can we just fuck this guy off? He's so annoying.
No, let's get him on the pod. We'll have a chat.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, I would love to fight KSI. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and
That'd
Z
be-
can fight him. We'll have him on the
It'd be-
pod, and then you guys can belt him up in the ring. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to do boxing because boxing's not probably where I'd shine as much. I'd like to do MMA. Does the karate combat, do they allow for grappling? I don't remember if they did. I think it was all kind of like standing and kicking and shit.
Yeah, I
But,
think that's
yeah.
more what it is. Yeah.
I'd prefer to be able to pick
If you
someone
ever
up
grappled me, man, I would be fucking dead.
and drop them on their head. But yeah,
He's not that strong, Wernal. Don't believe
No.
the hype.
Oh, okay,
no,
sweet. I just look at the group photos that we've got together, and I just see my height compared to the rest of you. Well, not so much Swiss, but everyone else. Well, even Swiss.
well, it's all of us compared to Sticks, really.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah.
relative. 1L. I'm like, no, no, no. We're all like, oh yeah, poof. Okay.
Dix has to duck when he goes through hallways, man. It's actually crazy.
The man
dude,
has a
I had
genuine
to
need for business
warn-
class tickets.
I had to warn him. He nearly bumped his head on like the kitchen door. Almost like he was kind of like, oh no, like that's good. But like, the little button on the top of your hat,
Yeah,
that was like touching the door frame. And I'm like, we've got high ceilings, dude. What the fuck? you should be fitting through this house. Okay.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think
He has to get his shoes custom made because he's like size 20, 22s.
You know what they say about big shoes?
Big
175
socks.
matches on Hinge.
14,000.
14,000. Sorry.
yeah.
Wow. Holy fuck.
But man, that was funny, dude. I'm such a boomer when it comes to all this shit. Like the Hinge stuff. I last time I was single, it was 2016, and it was Tinder was the thing. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked, but
Yeah,
I was looking.
Tinder was the only thing for me back then. I tried Hinge
Literally,
back
and-
then, and
and-
it was shit.
And Tinder was that thing where it was like, you weren't exactly doing it for long-term relationship purposes. So
What do you mean?
I don't know. I mean,
Hikaru in the chat just said, I sat next to Sticks at the bar. I stood up, same height as him sitting.
yeah.
Dark Forest knows Tan. Oh my god.
What's Tantan?
What's
Oh my God.
Tan? I'm guessing I'm gonna. Yep.
You can-
Okay.
you can-
I see
you
why
can-
you guys. I just quick Google. I see why you and Dark are on this app.
Hang on. What's Tantan?
Have a guess, Swiss. You'd
This is
love it as
Tantan
well.
ramen.
No, that's not Tantan Man. Tantan Man's good, but
Join the dating app that is ensuring every connection is a genuine one. Tantan is all about making honest connections online in real life.
Look at the language it's written in originally.
I'm not clicking on this because I have money on this computer that I do not want to lose. Oh, it's an Asian dating app.
Yes, correct. He got there.
Ah,
yeah.
I'm might have to download this for research purposes.
So-
Or hot Dark said, or hot copper. I love that he thought hot copper was a dating site for like gay police officers.
No,
fuck.
that was hilarious.
That was good.
hilarious.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, occasionally I'll crack open the old hot copper. I did the other day actually, because I was like, a friend messaged me about stocks and he's like, oh, hey, do you still have this fucking specky mining stock that we bought in like 2017? I was like, maybe. Let me check like my ComSec. I still have like a couple $100 worth of it. But yeah, going on the hot copper. Oh, bro. It's the same people in the forum. It's been 6 years and they're still in there like, yeah. Don't worry, guys. It's coming back.
It's coming back.
The chart is an inverse hockey stick. It's just gone. Anyway,
Yeah,
it's
fun.
literally hot copper is like a forum, but for meme coin. It's the same thing as you see as like meme coin Telegram group chats. It's just a bunch of guys being like, don't worry, guys, we'll pump it.
Bro, speaking of those shit coins, this is the one I've been in for a long time. And this is a daily chart, and this starts from 2010.
What's this?
It's called Sandfire Resources. It's a copper company. It's been in the same fucking range since like 2010. And then it's finally about to break out. So I bought like
so
back here
undeniably
something.
gross.
And that's why time in the market beats timing the market.
Can we change your name on Twitter to the Barefoot Investor?
The barefoot investor.
The barefoot journo.
The barefoot journo. Oh
I would
my
Hey,
love
guys.
the Barefoot Investor to interview Michael Saylor, and then Michael Saylor just like rip this guy a new one.
Oh my god.
Because
that would be
like
the
he's all
best
about
combo.
diversifying and buying
Mhm.
stocks, and like he sends out a newsletter where it's like, hey, it's the most exciting day of the week. It's dividend week. It's where my auto dividends get paid back into the stocks that they're in, and it's just kind of like, yeah, responsible.
Yeah, I had a guy at a work dinner. It was like a contractor. Fucking, they randomly brought up Bitcoin, and this guy who's probably about the same age as us. And he just started shitting all over Bitcoin, and he was like, "Yeah, no, well, I invest in dividend stocks, and all of the dividends I just like, reinvest, and I'm up like quite a bit, so blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, cool, man." Really cool. And he just like, but Bitcoin's got no fucking intrinsic value. You can't hold it. And I was like, oh god, this is so cringe. Man. And then the other day, a guy that I work with was like, hey man, I heard Bitcoin halved the other day. Like, how's your portfolio going? Like, that must have hurt, right? I was like,
Oh dear.
oh,
Oh dear.
I refuse to believe people are that retarded, man.
No, I
Can
literally
you imagine
literally got asked
allowing
that.
your brain to entertain that conversation? Like, did this guy not even think to like understand what it was before asking the question?
No, he's like 47. He asked me, and then, like him and I talk like every day for like hours a day, and he's like a bit of a gold bug in that. And that was what he took from whatever was being talked about on the news. So
Oof. So,
big oof.
oh,
Big
man,
oof.
I just don't. Yeah, it is kind of phenomenal that it's more just like if people would be like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. I'm whatever. You can do whatever you like with those funny little tokens. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
But the fact that it's like, no, what? The seethe and hate for it is just, it's so
Yeah.
funny to me now. I'm like, guys, what? Just like, I don't care about whether or not, your dividend stock in some minerals company that hasn't done a prospectus in 13 years pays you, $8 a year. Like, I just don't have an opinion on it. Why do you have an opinion on what? Yeah. Oh, but
Yeah.
isn't it a bit risky? It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. I believe that's the correct word for it.
Yep.
Oh man.
I love those conversations though, because essentially to some degree, like you're all caught out on the same like issue, which is that if you actually took more risk at the right time, you'd be better off. Like even if you do own BTC and ETH and it is risky in comparison to stocks, if you would have held whiff, you would have probably made a lot more money in the last like months, if that makes sense. So it's like yeah, it's riskier than the stocks, but it's like it's not as risky as it could be to get the upside of which you desire.
Yeah. Opportunity.
so,
Yeah,
cost.
it's
We essentially become like a boomers within our own space if we just hold BTC and ETH, expecting to be better than everyone else because everyone else is like shitcoiny.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. It's
Yeah.
pretty
it's
funny.
actually like
my
it's
It's
my
quite
portfolio
analogous, to be honest.
is like I can't believe it's weighted most like just from like meme coin season. I went from having nice DCA'd core positions over 2 years that were just completely blown out percentage wise by memes that did pretty well, and you're like, what the like? It's so it's very silly, and I'm very happy, and yeah, I just think it's a funny fucking thing
Yeah.
that memes are the thing that have just been the most EV positive across the board for anyone in the last 2 months that it like picked up essentially anything. Yeah, funny times, and I do feel like it is the boomer response of like, "Meh, those meme coins are risky." It's like, dude, you hold fucking like Chainlink. What? Why is this suddenly so far? Is that so far along the risk curve that it's like it's just unpalatable? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it wasn't in this chat, but in the Oz Cabal chat, 60 just mentioned that he was in class today, and some dudes talking about 6% per annum on their investments. It's like,
Nice.
yeah, boy. Yeah, you could have just put that in a savings account, and and got like for that extra 2%, you took on all that more risk. It's like, wow.
I also don't think people realize how much like dollar cost averaging actually costs in terms of like fees over a long enough period of time. It's like the
Yes.
only thing that's guaranteed to like multiply the more you do it,
Yeah,
rather than like your investment.
Actually, good topic, dollar cost averaging, because I see it get like thrown around a lot, but I actually think it's a terrible way to look at it in isolation, because DCAing is great as long as you've got a stop point. So like if you just constantly DCA like into Bitcoin, for example, then like
Huh.
if you're doing like buys consistently over a period of time, then the early buys that you have suddenly start getting outweighed by the like especially if Bitcoin ranges at like these high levels for a long period of time and you're DCAing, depending on how long like the bear market was, like your average starts increasing quite substantially because of how much higher the price is. So like DCAing is great if you have like I'm going to DCA at like a low point and I'm going to stop DCAing at this point and my job is done. And then when you start reaching sort of take profit levels, you actually have to start DCAing out. But if you just a constant DCA in, then like your average like really gets fucked by like higher prices. So it's like DCAing is fine as long as you've got a strategy as to when you start and stop, and then when you start selling and when you stop selling. But like just DCAing in isolation that isn't always a great strategy because like you can get absolutely fucked by your average
agree with
becoming
that.
higher and higher to the net price.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like DCA in on the way up and then full stack Hitler the chart on the way out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it,
for
Swiss.
sure, for sure. And or
Yeah.
just like full stack like when you're the most fearful at one point in time, and then if you don't have the capital at that time to do it, you put in enough capital until you feel somewhat satisfied that you're fully allocated, and then that point in time you just let it ride until it gets to a point where you feel somewhat satisfied, and then you know miss out on potential further upside, but then hold it enough until you feel more comfortable to start buying again. Is probably like the
Well, I
better
don't
strategy.
mean to say, well, that's exactly what I've done, but it is kind of exactly what it is kind of
Righto,
exactly.
Tom. Righto.
Yeah, listen, I'm just gonna. I know that you've just outlined the genius strat, and I'm just gonna come in and be like, yeah, well, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But no, like I have like ever since 2022, when I finally decided to kind of jump in my tepid way that I did, I was like, oh yeah, fuck it, all right, DCA in. And we're talking like smallish amounts, and it was like 60-40 ETH BTC.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've done that literally every month up until January. And just because I'm allocating so actively all the time now that I'm like, I do have that foundation where I'm like, cool, I've just done 2 years of like DCA in. Again, like not the kind of size that you'd be like, holy shit, but it's like I almost treat it as like, money that you almost bury in the backyard. I'm like, cool, I got that. That's the foundation. What if it just and the sell target is literally just like when numbers are kind of silly to a point where I'm like, all right, that's I'm happy with that. Or alternatively, I do think with BTC in particular, I'm like, I'm probably just gonna hang on to that forever.
Bitcoin's probably the one thing Bitcoin and ETH are probably two coins I'd always like to have some sort of allocation to, no matter what. Depending on financial situations and that. But like, I don't think I've put in any sort of decent sort of money into crypto since October last year. I think I've maybe put in like a few grand, maybe total, like since then. But I've taken out like every big airdrop that I've had, apart from Jito, I've cashed out. Like I cashed out most of my dime, like 50% of my dime, and like that paid off, a lot of what I'd initially put in over the years. And then I've tried to like take airdrops out and then not put anything back in as much as possible. It's like an arsehole. It should only really just come out. You don't shove it back. I think it's a good way.
I'm glad you're doing that, because I don't think I'll be taking profits at all ever, because they expect one of us in the wreckage, and I'm happy.
Oh yeah, man.
No, Swiss.
Nice, dude.
You're gonna retire for your fucking Kevin, so it's fine.
True.
I reckon. You know what I would love. If it wouldn't even be about the money if it sold for 2,000 ETH. It would just be the look on Dark's face if it actually ever did sell for 2,000 ETH. That would make it so much more worth it.
Yeah. It would be
the look on
hilarious.
Dark's virtual face, just
the Ahegal face.
Silence.
I think he's gone. He's left chat, but
he's left the chat.
He's left. He's gone.
Dark's like, I'm not a Kevin Bear.
I was fully supportive.
Dark's just been put on blast, and he's like, guys, fuck off. Like,
he's like, he did say it could get to like maybe 20 at a stretch, but
yeah.
Needed a couple more zeros, Dark.
2 more zeros.
Yeah. Just think of the Kevin wealth effect on the markets,
Dude, indeed. Yeah, fuck. I was gonna say we should do like a quick bag review, depending on how comfortable everyone is with it. Like, again, not fucking advertising positions of like, these are all the coins I have, so that people can fucking inundate your DMs with like, when should I sell? Are you worried? It's like, I don't know, man. Dude. Yeah. Done that. Like, I think I made a post about something about Tia, and like 2 or 3 people instantly, like not instantly, but quickly messaged me being like, hey man, like, what's the long-term like shtick on it? And I'm like, I'm approaching this with a relatively similar amount of information to you, I assume. It's gone down a lot, and I don't know. But yeah, no, like, I just think that it's a good way of being
maybe either a bag review or like what we think we'd be willing to hold for the next like quarter. I think it's probably a good thing, especially.
I'm logged in to this Poad on my new AI farming PC, so I don't have any of my wallets, which has been so good at helping sit on hands. Like, having a new computer, I can't look at shit. I'm just like, nah, don't open that browser, so I can't see during times of pain. Because I'm happy with all my core stuff, and I'm just like, well, nothing about the market has changed enough for me to want to sell anything that I own. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to not look at it. And if I see some info about fucking Cresso wallet going down the tubes, then I'll have time to try. I actually haven't checked that. Have I cursed myself live on stream?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, no. Oh, I just opened the coin gecko. Oh, fuck. Anyway, about not looking at things. But yeah, no, like, I don't know. competitions are all kind of boring majors. Largest one is Sol at the moment. Thank you, meme coins.
I don't
Outside
own
BTC, ETH,
fuck all Sol
Sol.
at the moment.
Well, funnily enough, I'm
I am
lending pretty much all of my Sol on MarginFi. Because it's like the last thing that has like a supposed fucking airdrop, and then like what was this 2 weeks ago? The fucking founder coming out calling Sats Dart a fucking dirt sack,
Oh, that was good.
telling people that gay sex is great and that the G spot's in the ass. I was like, bro, please don't do this. Anyway, but yeah, I'm lending all of my Sol on MarginFi. I got a couple little bags splintered throughout the place. I got a chunk of Pendle that I'm very happy with. That's 80% of it's locked until September this year. So at first I was like, this is so bad. And now I'm like, this might actually be good because paper-handed me probably would have been like, well, I'll take a little profit here. So that's good. Cresso wallet is another one that I think is just, I don't know, if they can actually do what their roadmap says, I think it's a good call because it's the account abstraction wallet.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of competition. I didn't quite see it coming, and I should have. But Coinbase have their own account abstraction wallet that's going to be probably really fucking good.
Yeah, that
and
one looks
integrated
really
with Base.
sick. Yeah.
And so at the time in November when I picked it up, I was like, oh, sick. Fuck, this is like the only thing building on EIP 3844 or whatever the EIP proposal was. I was like, this is sick. And now I've seen all this other shit of like, this is probably going to be the account abstraction wallet. But I still think just from a novelty point of view, if it's good and you can supposedly pay for gas in like their native tokens, you don't have to worry about actually having ETH. Like it's gasless in the sense that it's like, it's just included in the transaction itself. I think that's a play. BDB made the occasional bull post about it after I picked it up, and I was like, "Day, that's what we like to see." Confirmation, and then Tia is a painful hold,
I think
but a worthwhile one.
I think Tia's good. I think there was a lot of
Yeah.
buys into it recently, which kind of gave the indication towards maybe another potential airdrop. Like I know it like nuked pretty hard, like from the dip, but I actually think there's probably like another snapshot on its way. And
yeah, true.
Chris
Well,
Beninsky was like bull
dude.
posting it and that, and so I think it's probably something like Eclipse, or something to that effect. That like there's probably a snapshot coming, and given the recent dip, I saw a lot of people saying they were unstaking their wallet and that. So it would be the most amazing thing if like all of the tier stakers from like Jan to like March, April, like unstaked, and then they take another snapshot like after the nuke. It would just be fucking hilarious because like basically all of that supply that was like put in there to like capture the airdrops like completely cheats out, and then all of a sudden they give more airdrops out, but those people don't get any airdrop. I think it's brilliant.
Taiki Maeda would be a very happy man, and so would I, to be honest. I still have probably too much, but I got the majority of mine now on Milky Tia.
Milk Tia, yeah.
Milk Tia, sorry. And so the Milky Way zone or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I have a chat with Dojo about this. He's a Stride maxi and I'm a Milk Tia maxi. So it'll be good to see which one of us is vindicated at the end.
I think he's unstaked fully now.
Oh shit, is he out?
Yeah, I think he is. Or like the 21-day staking. So maybe he's into the liquid staking now, but yeah, pretty sure.
No, that's what I mean. Like the Stride. Yeah. Stride is the other liquid staking protocol. Because they're both doing Milk and Stride are both doing tokens.
Yeah.
And we essentially split testing in real time which one's going to be better.
Wins, yeah.
So I'm hoping it's Milky.
Speaking of liquid staking tokens, there's one that I think might be interesting on Solana. That Satswati shielded me. Sanctum.so is the platform. So it's a liquid staking thing for Sol. It's an infinity pool. So it's a multi LST, so you can swap between the different liquid staking tokens within the swap, but they have their own token called Infinity. And and yeah, you can like swap between Jito Soul, Jupe Soul, Marinade Soul, etc. And there's like a 9-10% APY. It was 10% the other day. It was like a 9.35% APY at the moment. So I think
Nice.
there's an airdrop that's coming for that, and I haven't really seen it spoken about other than the shill I got from like Saswasi. So shout out for him. So if you're watching this,
Ooh. So
uh,
you're suggesting that one farms Sanctum? Because I have a lot sitting on margin fire that I'm just kind of
I
like,
just realized I've only done it on one wallet, so I might need to.
hmm,
I think that's what I'm going to deploy some fresh capital to go and do now. Is just go and
ah,
do the
okay.
Sanctum farm. I think that makes
Fuck yeah.
sense. Yeah.
That's good. It's always good to have like a soul. I don't know, just any sort of like farming op for passive shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like the amount that I've missed, even though I've had just like literal just mages just sitting there.
Mm.
And just because I didn't hear about it, and then you just have that inundation of the timeline of people like, oh my God, I put one soul in and now I have $10,000. And I'm just like, I am going to kill myself. But
that was like
I
Jito for me,
literally,
bro. So.
oh, dude. Jito.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it like 2 months before, like, yeah, I'm trying this Jito thing out. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then I was like, it's
didn't
worth
even-
how much?
I didn't even know
Fuck.
at the time either. And like the stupid thing was I fucking bought Marinade Soul as well, and they already had a fucking token. So...
I think I did something similar. I was like, oh yeah, marinade. And then Swiss is like, you fucking moron. It's already got a coin. And I was like, oh,
And
no.
I sold the bottom of it just before it pumped. So
Nice.
who's the real genius?
The boys have, this is why you come to Brotato Capital. You stay
That's
for
the real alpha.
the raw alpha. Bottom ticky, like sell the
Marinade
bottom.
was such a fumble, man. Oh my god.
You were so right on all of those protocols too, Swiss, as well. Like you had
I
like
sold Orca
everything.
too early
Yeah.
as well. I bought Orca at like 60 cents and then sold it at $4 and then it went 9. I was like,
Yeah, you had
I
a tough,
rotated out of Soul way too early.
you had a tough hatch there of like actually being, you know, correct commentary wise, but then like the Discords, you know, Cope sees sell the bottom. Sorry, yeah, sell the bottom. You're just
It's
like,
just me.
it's just you being like, oh my God, I've done it again.
Yeah, I missed Radium as well. Like I
Oh.
fucking sold it and then I did a 3x.
I feel like I put a good bit of work into the old Cope Seeth sell the bottom for a while there. So, you know, I did my time.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I guess like that's probably the only like active thing I've done recently. I like I've got a shit ton of Whiff, a shit ton of Popcat. I've got some Pyth staking for the Monad drop if that ever eventuates. I sold my Jito at a much lower price point than it is now. For Pyth that is at a much lower price point than it is now. So I've taken a decent haircut on that to do that staking. So that sucks. And incurred a taxable event, which is great.
Nice.
We love those. We love those.
I'm also holding Le Prime as well, and again that doesn't feel great compared to where it was like a month ago. It's down like what 30 something % off its highs, so still holding a bit of that. And unfortunately, as you do when you get bored, when your coins stop moving, I've started buying NFTs.
Nice.
So I've got the lassos. I got a what's the Retardio cousins. And
Fuck me, dude. Times have been tough in the 1L household, huh?
and I also minted 4 Whiff NFTs, which were 1 soul each, which in hindsight was fucking stupid. And they're dog shit as fuck. So I, like, no pun intended. So I don't know why I did that, but yeah. So I'm just hoping that the attention eventuates back to Whiff. Popcat's been good to me the last couple of days, and Pups, of course, is probably the other big one, the BTC Rune coin, that's on Solana, but you can bridge back to BTC, burn to get the BRC20, and then eventually burn to get the Rune once that starts minting. So Those probably like my big plays at the moment, and I'm just holding through all of that. But yeah, so if we get any sharp moves down, I will be probably crying myself in a corner to sleep. But yeah, I think the meme super cycle is real, and I'm betting on it big. So
Oh yeah.
Nice.
what about you, Swiss?
Shorting the strongest performer in the stock market over the last year. So
And he was right.
that's where I'm at.
You fucking nailed that. You nailed that.
Yeah.
And I shit talked you so
Mhm.
much. I was like, nah, bro, it's going to 1,000. And then I was wrong again. So, not fading Swiss ever again.
/Swiss _ was _ right.
I think one of my favorite plays, which I think is like probably overvalued, but I still hold it anyway because I think it's an integral part of the ecosystem as well as future airdrops for things as like Botniks Labs, is Alex Dex, which is the main DEX on Stacks. I was fortunate enough to participate in their IDO back in, not sure if it was 2022 or 2023, but I got a small allocation, and I bought more back in, I think it would have just been as it broke out, maybe in like early November, and then I've been holding it ever since. I think it's quite like if you compare it to like GMX or some of the other ETH exchanges, I think this is like well overvalued for what it actually provides in terms of like users and TVL, but it has a fairly good amount of tokenomics, and they did recently just raise $10 million with
pretty cool.
DWF Labs. So
Oh,
maybe
God.
it'll get an exchange listing somewhere, but
You know
that'll be
that
a
when you get the
bumpy ride.
DWF pump, you know that like crazy one that's like mega like negative funding? That's when you need to start
Yeah.
exiting.
Probably it'll be something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I thought maybe like what's it at now, like 37 cents. Like maybe I thought $1 was pretty okay to target, or maybe like $2. But again, I think that's looking at like $1 billion valuation. I'm not sure if it will get there considering the size of Stacks already. But another one that I'm pretty keen on is DMT.
Oh, yeah.
It's holding up all right. It had a later pump in comparison to everything else. And because it's integrated with FriendTech, I believe that FriendTech will definitely drum up some interest and some fun, especially if they do an airdrop, because of how DMT and Sanko TV are related to FriendTech, as you can see, where if you just look under our tag, you can see it says 0 keys for FriendTech. So I believe that DMT
We should
is a good
start
play.
a FriendTech for Brotato Cap. What do you think?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
We should do that. Tom, so
and-
get on that.
Yeah, I might get on that.
Yeah, all right, you guys can do that while I'm in my holiday. The other one I'm pretty keen on, which I haven't built a position in, is Robinhood, which I posted about it in the Cord.
Shill my bags,
and I
bro.
told
Shill
you
my
guys
bags.
about it. But I don't know how to play it, essentially, because I think you could buy now, but I think there is a chance that if the market corrects on a wider time frame, like I think Nvidia potentially still has some more downside to come to it, because there's no real narrative around the recent price action that I've seen. I
In
haven't
terms
been
of
looking
what,
hard enough,
Robinhood,
probably.
or in terms
Well,
of
all I'm
Nvidia?
saying is like, so Coinbase corrected, Nvidia corrected. Those are the two things I look at the moment. I don't necessarily think there's a trade where you long Robinhood and short Coin, because I think
No,
Coin is
I think the
different.
same. I think they're the same trade, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know
Narrative wise, that's
what
like
it looks like. I just know that from a chart perspective, I think Hood looks quite
Mm.
good. I don't know anything about calls either. I was like kind of thinking if the lazy option is to just buy calls at like a later period of time. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it, but maybe buying Hood at some point in the near future for upside wouldn't be the worst. If your whole idea is people will gamble their way to generational wealth, I think that fits into it nicely.
Yeah, I bought a bunch at like $11.40 under the same premises coin, which is basically what you just said around the gambling thing. But at that time, like S&P was like on its run up. And like if you're gonna bet on coin being this, high performing stock because of crypto's resurgence, etc. Robinhood's also a platform where you can buy and sell crypto, especially the popular tokens. And but you can also do options, and you can also do like stocks. So it does make sense that like if that sort of environment in which the participants are that way inclined comes back, then Robinhood's going to be an easy choice. And my little stints that I had in America and Canada over the last 12 months, when I was interacting with people sort of my age that weren't really crypto inclined, but like owned some Bitcoin or stocks or whatever, they all used Robinhood. And I was there when Bitcoin almost hit all-time high. I was in Canada at the time, and the guy next to me, he was my age, and he was like, "Yo, do you see this? Like Bitcoin almost hit all-time high. Fucking, I should have bought it more." And pulled out his Robinhood app, and he's like, "I bought these stocks instead. Like I bought Nvidia." Um, so so that was probably a good signal at the time. But
Yeah.
I definitely
The only
think
thing
that's
is,
a
I just
trade
wouldn't
from that
know where to.
narrative perspective.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what's a better hold, coin or hood, because I don't necessarily believe hood is the beta to coin, but I don't
Mm.
necessarily believe that like you need to hold both the stocks. I think you can get away with just holding one,
Oh,
because
for
like the
sure, for
issue
sure.
is that if you hold hood, you're kind of betting on the fact that it needs to outperform coin, of which I wouldn't take that bet. So the only
Yeah.
way that I would really entertain coin is if I got the dream entry at a good area, and then I could just like lever up and do a shorter time frame and sort of capture that
Mm.
upside. It sounds all well and good if I just say it like that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like I think if you're already positioned in coin from a pretty decent buy, I don't necessarily feel like you would need to take the
The
hood
risk.
trade, in my
Yes.
opinion.
I've got both. I've got both, but the reason I took both was like when at the time, right?
Mm,
If you look at both charts just from a sort of fractal perspective, Hood at this point in time was still within its range. So, and the Hood chart looked the same as what the coin chart looked to me. Like you've got this
mm,
range, and then you sort of got the breakout of the range, like back to its sort of all-time high. And then Hood had its range, and its all-time high was up here. And then so I sort of bought while it was still within its range, because I was like, same sort of thesis, but it's still within the range, so it's probably earlier than my coin buys. Even though I did get some coin buys sort of within the range, or most of them still were within the range. But at the time that I bought
mm,
Hood, coin had already broke out of the range, so I was like, well, I've got this extra capital here. I could buy more coin, or I could buy Hood. It's the same trade, but it's still within its range rather than breaking out of its range. So that's why I took the trade. But I agree that if you're looking at this current point in time, if you look at like the overheads that like the charts both have on each other, like Hood's still got a lot more overhead before it reaches its sort of all-time high point, and before it goes into price discovery, whereas like coins like a lot closer into its all-time high point before it goes to price discovery. And coin has the huge catalyst of its Q1 earnings, after being the main broker or the main exchange that gets used for the ETFs. And given all the ETF flows we had, like the amount of fees that they must have generated from that would have been huge. So I think from like a catalyst and chart perspective, like if you're going to take a position now, coin would look a lot sexier. Um, so I would
yeah.
agree
I
that if
mean,
you're
each
going
their
to pick
own.
one,
I think
yeah.
if it depends what you want to do. Like if hood goes to, I don't even know what the all-time high was. What is it? $90. That's not too bad. Like if it could get to $90, or $85, 85, then yeah, maybe that's a pretty good R&R. Like it is a low enough market cap. But that's what I mean. It's like if that's, I don't know, what is that, like a 3-4x? I don't really know.
Yeah.
But like if you think coin's going to go to $400 and it's already at 235, then maybe the trade is just to hold hood to like new highs or whatever. But I don't know. I haven't really given it too much thought, but I like that trade setup. I just don't know how or what if I will even position for it. But
Yeah.
So what have I just talked on DMT, Alex?
Just before we leave the hood stuff, there is a really nice fractal I just wanted to show you, because I think it's kind of similar in terms of like narrative perspective, but like meta, like when it first did its like IPO back in 2012, the chart looks super similar, especially if you go to like lower time frame, in terms of the like daily at that point in time. Like it's got that same like IPO launch, bleed down range for a long period of time, and then break out to all-time high, and then just like consistent giga run to like fucking crazy new highs. So my thesis on coin and hood when I was buying it, I was basically just looking at the like the meta fractal and being like, look, once those coins break out, then we potentially over the next like decade or so get this mega run on those stocks, and you know, get another meta like performance thing, especially if like, you know, the 2010s was all about, you know, the web 2 sort of technology and around sort of social aspects and Netflix and all of that, whereas like the next decade, if we are bullish on the technology of like the web 3 stuff, then it's all the financialization side of everything. So Coinbase, Robinhood and all of that sort of takes the frontier of all of that. So you know, from a decade long perspective, do we get a hood / Coinbase run that's similar to this meta run here?
Maybe we'll see. We'll see. What else do I have that's underwater that I need to offload? Not financial advice.
Dump on your followers.
What else do I own?
DMT's just on while you're looking for that. DMT has done a recent integration with Pump.fun. So they had a competition, and I think it ended yesterday or today. But like, you could launch the stream and attach a Pump.fun token to it. And so basically, you could launch a token with your stream, and then get a bit of hype and shit like built around. So that was pretty cool social fire interaction, especially given the current meta around the Pump.fun stuff. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Brotato coin coming up. No, kidding. We should never launch a coin. It's just whenever you see people launch coins, like when Loomdart did that, like just seeing anyone be like, yeah, we're doing a meme coin. I'm like, don't.
Don't, please.
Like, I'm just like, don't. Yeah.
It is tempting.
Also, I don't want to give it away, so everyone goes and buys the keys real fast. But Brotato Capital now has a friend tech.
Nice.
Can you at least buy 5 first before they pump the price up? Because I reckon you'll be able to transfer keys as a friend tech upgrade. And then if we don't have our own keys, man, it's going to be a fucking pain to spend all this money to acquire our own.
Kidding, guys. It's not live. Jokes. Don't go look at it or anything. I was just excited. In other news, anyway, Swiss, you were talking about something else.
I've got a Doge long. That's right. I've got a Doge long. My buys were at 70 cents from when Elon Musk went on live television. So I'm just waiting for that to hit $1 to take profit. Nice. Yeah, it's real nice, man.
Real nice, man.
Yeah, sick, man.
Hey, sassy.
This coin, you know what? SHIB. SHIB's my other one that I hold. I got a soft spot for SHIB. The reason why I hold SHIB is because it's the second largest meme coin, and I personally think that you want to back the winners. I think that like SHIB is the ETH of this cycle in terms of like the beta to BTC, which is Doge, and so you want to be positioned towards founders that are incredibly innovative to find ways to pump up the market cap unintentionally by losing money in various bridges that they try to utilize. And so my bets are with strong founders of the largest of meme coins, in my opinion. I know some people want to back meme coins that don't have any founders or the devs left early, but I'd like to back meme coins that have good, strong founders and good, strong ethics and good, strong fundamentals. So SHIB is my other coin that I
The
own.
play of the cycle for sure.
Yeah, I reckon. Look, in my opinion, like I don't want to say a dollar is on the cards, because I don't want to get everyone too bullish. But I would say in the worst case scenario, so like if World War III broke out, I still do see a scenario where we hit $1 for SHIB. And I'm not saying it's like the whole store of value thesis of where people will rush to this asset, but all I'm saying is like you might want to front run it just in case, in the worst case scenario that it goes up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely SHIB is the dark horse of this cycle.
Yeah.
Anon in the chat, because I didn't see a username pop up, but he asked, has anyone looked at the BNB BTC chart? I just pulled it up. This thing looks stupid. Like,
Oh my god.
it actually looks stupid. Like, it's just broke under its 200 weekly average. Or broke over it, should I say.
I hope people are taking this seriously. You better take this seriously. I mean everything I say about SHIB.
But yeah, it's does look like an interesting chart. It's a pretty good risk reward sort of long here versus BTC. It's like 2x.
I think markets just correct and go down for the next 4 months.
Fuck. You just cursed us, bro.
Don't say this shit,
No,
man.
I'm just kidding. I won't. No, it was not going to do that. Don't worry, guys. I'm kidding.
Remember last time you said it was the top because everyone was posting their 6-figure portfolios and then it was the top?
I think you can actually time this cycle quite well off Dark's sentiment because basically when he gets really frustrated that all of his hard work into good fundamental coins that have performed really well are all sort of like overshadowed by meme coins, you kind of know we're near some sort of like top because it's very hard to outperform Dark. And in that small window that the outperformance comes, it's usually the top.
Yeah,
and so,
sure.
Dark, how are you feeling? Are we up? Unironically, truth. How are you feeling, Dark? Are you good, bad, indifferent? Not enough people carried out in stretches in meme coins, I reckon, is responsible be.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit more. Who knows?
What do we think
Feeling
about
good to go. All right.
Let's run it back. Let's run it back to all-time highs. Let's do it. Fuck.
Yeah.
What do we think about ETH BTC?
Oh, well, I'm starting to like ETH again, a little bit more,
Oh, fuck, you're
based
gonna
on the
make me
fact
buy
that I
ETH.
think if I had bought some under 4 digits, it would have been a good trade to hold for the next couple of years. Personally, I don't know. I don't think you actually chart those anymore. I think you kind of need to look more closely to the alt relationships to the majors because I think the thing that people can get caught out on is they're like, oh, if BTC moves this way, what does it mean for my alt? I think it's you can kind of just start to trade your alt irrespective of what BTC is doing. Not because I think the moves of BTC are insignificant, but it's a lot more healthier to find strength and weakness in these sort of conditions with BTC and ETH ranging and your alt doing what your alt is doing. So if your alt that you've chosen to pair against BTC and ETH is like trending up or down, you can sort of gauge on what was even the question again? I feel like I've just gone off topic.
ETH BTC. What do you think?
Oh yeah. I think it's just going to be a nothing burger for ages until it's not. So it's like I don't know where you would trade that. Yeah, maybe you could buy it down there. I don't think it will get there personally, because I don't think anyone's going to get a clear buy on it. Like if you just generally look at the last PA that's unfolded on this thing, it's not really been a clear trade at any sort of point in time because I'm not sure when that is. Maybe is that like January 2021 where it like first makes that high? To the left there.
No, this was May 2021. That was the main nuke. So like
Yes.
so
if you sold ETH into BTC,
it's always been the last mover before the big nukes. So whenever ETH BTC makes like big new highs, it's always nuked after that, like the whole market.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. Like if you sold ETH in May 2021 and just like put it into BTC, you'd still be ahead of this whole fucking like terrible price action that's like unfolded afterwards. So I don't really know if it's worth spending any time and energy trying to like pick when the bottom will occur, because I don't think it's going to be obvious, and I don't think it's going to be like a necessary or easy trade. Like maybe if you were comparing like Sol and ETH, it would be a bit different, or Sol and BTC. But yeah, I don't really know if you need to be worrying about ETH, BTC much.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's a good. Personally, I don't think it's right now. I don't think it's the best indication of alt strength either. Because if you hold out for the fact that you're waiting for a reversion on ETH BTC before your alts go up, you're essentially like waiting for the market to get so overheated that nothing can really be down in those conditions, which isn't really like the position you want to take, because it kind of means that you're last to the trend anyway. So it's like, what can you just find now between your relative like chosen pairs that are showing strength, and what can you position for in terms of upside and narratives, irrespective of what BTC is doing? Because if it's been a good performer, how long has this downtrend been for ETH BTC?
Since basically since FTX.
Well, yeah, there you go. If you've been able to find an alt that goes up against ETH or BTC since FTX or even Jan 2023, then you're essentially in the winning trade already, because the rest of the market hasn't been able to like catch up, because ETH BTC has been like that. So that's my 2 cents about it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Or just looking at it and crying and cheering.
Yeah.
Good shout, Dark.
But yeah, like it is quite funny that every like sort of range high of ETH BTC has always been like, it's been the May 21 nuke, it was the November 21 nuke, it was the FTX, like just before the FTX implosion. Those have been like the three, oh no, it was the merge basically was the third one, and then it tried to run it back up around the FTX nuke, and then ever since FTX it's just been down only. So yeah, it's like ETH BTC highs have never like led to any sort of good sort of market sort of conditions, at least since fucking forever, like since last cycle. So yeah, or like even the original Jan high was like the first BTC like 30% correction. So like every high that ETH BTC has ever made is always like corresponded with like a big correction afterwards, which is why I hate the chart entirely. Because it's always like, if it's doing well, like things aren't historically, at least for the last.
What do you think about Sol ETH?
Sol ETH, I think it goes higher. I think we've probably just local bottomed on it at the moment. Like my gut says that, but my heart says that, but my gut at the moment, because everything looks pretty like shit house, is saying we might get another correct. But I don't know, we'll see. But like my heart says that we've just local bottomed after the last couple of weeks of like nuking, and we didn't break down lower from those levels. So I still think like Sol ETH makes probably another run of that all-time high that it's got, and eventually sort of hits that 0.01 level, probably towards the end of this continuation of this cycle. Same with Sol BTC. Like last cycle, Sol BTC was my risk on, risk off metric. So I used to use like Sol BTC purely for that. And if you look back historically, it kind of does give you those sort of windows. Like whenever the market was risk on, it was moving up, and when it was risk off, it would go sideways, or go down. So I think it still is playing that role now. So I think if you looked at Sol BTC as a risk on, risk off metric, and then Sol ETH is just like sort of the play of this cycle. You really want to be looking towards that 0.1 plus sort of ratio, because it doesn't really make sense for ETH to be that much more highly valued than Sol, given like yes, ETH has a lot of dev work that's happened on it, and it's been around a lot longer, but in terms of where activity is happening and what people are doing with it, like doesn't really make sense for it to be that disparate between market caps, apart from the overhangs of VC coins and all of that. But I definitely think from a valuation perspective, it's still probably got a little bit more to close the gap. Not entirely, but close enough. But Sol
Yeah.
BTC, I think, probably has a run for its all-time high. And if it ever hits all-time high, it'd probably look to risk off a lot more around that point of time. There's like a certain range. I'll just pull it up on the chart here. I'd look at this sort of block here as being like, yeah, I'll start risking off in this sort of zone, and then anything above that, we'll just continue to sell. And
You might need to fix the stream.
Yeah, we got to reboost.
We got to reboost it.
Oh shit!
We've been burning through.
Jeez, we must be doing well. Obviously, no one's watching us and actually owning our fucking pass. All you plebs.
I
mean,
blame this on
sorry.
I blame this on Dark.
Thank you, beloved listeners, you fucking plebs. Buy
Buy our
pass.
fucking pass. It's only 0.02 ETH right now. Could watch us.
I just shilled you guys shib for fuck's sakes. Why can't you just buy it now? God damn it.
Where else would you get this? Where else would you get this kind of alpha, guys? Come on, throw us the bone.
Yeah, come on, guys, come on. But yeah, that's probably the zone I'd be looking at, like sort of risking off a bit more. But I still think that plays its role. This like the worst Bitcoin.
Is there any bearish scenarios that you boys have?
Yeah, that this is the top. That's my bearish scenario. I like when I met you boys for the steak dinner, like originally, I'm pretty sure I said to you guys, my thesis for this cycle is that the halving is the top. And you know, it would be kind of funny if that all played out and I convinced myself otherwise, because of, you know, all the gains that I had prior to the halving. But yeah, that would be my bearish scenario, is that like we actually had our cycle, and the cycle started in January last year, and the 18 months that typically happens from a cycle was January last year till now, which should be interesting.
Dark just said, bro keeps saying it's funny. I'm like, yeah, I agree.
Bro, you got to say it's funny, otherwise like you get depressed, so just got to embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it.
Even DGen Spartan's like plan, like his sell plan was like Q2 2024 start selling. Nailed it on the fucking
Does
head.
anyone in the chat that isn't Dark have a coin that we can talk about, or any suggestions to talk about?
Shill us your shitcoin.
Oh, that's such a great quote. We heben in this sweetest problem, and you're laughing.
We are having in serious problem. Proper Jar Jar Binks language.
No, didn't that come from that fucking Dutch politician?
It was like a Dutch senator or something saying we inhabit serious problem.
Are any of you doing some
YT
YouTube restaking play?
YouTube restaking? Bro, come on.
What does the YT stand for?
Please, shill it to us. Let us buy your shitcoin. Tube?
Please?
It's
Please?
the Pendle leveraged farming token.
Young thug.
Do you know about this?
Anybody got any thoughts on future of airdrops?
But in terms of Pendle leveraged farming token, man, once you get that far into DeFi, that's where I kind of stop. I'm kind of like, okay, if I have to, like I play around on Pendle, but I just don't have enough size for it to be worth it personally. Like if I was going in on size for farming certain things, then sure, it would be a good play. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, I steer clear of a lot of DeFi because I find that I can get a lot more edge doing other things outside of like just getting yield. Yeah. So that's my shtick, but it's only because I'm a fucking shrimp investor and I don't have any size. So that's why.
It's like it's probably a good thing, and probably leads into Kara's question around the future of airdrops. I think like with the airdrops recently, like with Tensor, Parcel, not Margin.fi because they're not fucking releasing anything. Wormhole, a few others, right? I feel like like the airdrop thing was really good when no one was doing it, which is why like Jita was so good. Dimension was pretty good, because the amount of people playing that game at that time was pretty low, and so the more that you get these games and everyone kind of works out these games, like the less that the value of the airdrop becomes like pretty well distributed. Athena worked out pretty well for like Remilio holders and things like that. Less so for the people that put in actual USDC or whatever they had to do to the Athena stablecoin sort of deposits. And so you got to sort of ask yourself, is my money better locked up playing these airdrop games, or is my money better put to work doing some sort of other activity like with meme coins or some sort of trading of sorts? And that's always the hardest question. And like I think the asymmetric upside on it was greater at the beginning, because you had to play the airdrops that no one was playing. Like everyone last year was playing the ZK Sync, it was playing Layer Zero, it was playing all of these ETH sort of airdrops, but no one was really touching Solana. So that's why the Solana airdrops worked out so well. Whereas now, the Solana airdrops, everyone sort of saw, holy shit, that guy made so much money off Jito. Holy shit, guy made so much money off Tier. And so the asymmetric upside of it sort of disappeared. And so if you want to find those sort of games now, like you got to go somewhere where no one is, and you got to look for the teams that are still got a decent war chest, still actively shipping, maybe pivoting to some sort of new direction, and the timeline's not really talking about, and then to combine with all that, someone that's actually raised a decent amount of sort of funding via sort of venture capital at some point in time. So it still takes a lot of research, and I think if you're able to find the airdrop on Twitter, like you're probably not going to get much. But if it's one of those like airdrops that like you feel uncomfortable putting any sort of decent money into because it's so uncertain, like that's the ones that are actually going to pay out pretty well for you. But it's easier said than done, right? I think just Solana just had like a window of opportunity that played out for a lot of people, and if you were able to play that game, it worked well for you early on, but maybe not so much now.
Yeah, I think the airdrop thing is still very much a good use of your time, because it forces you to go explore different things, get a different
100%.
perspective on stuff as well. So like, because there will be projects coming up that people are excited for, like Layer Zero or ZK Sync or Monad or Eclipse, there's going to be this idea that money will be distributed to users at some point. So like Layer 2s, for example, I saw that in the chat from you, Hikaru. Yeah, there's absolutely opportunities there. Just got to keep jumping around, keep trialing a few different things.
I think
also
Bitcoin
think
would
that
probably be
there's
good for airdrops, right? Like if you're playing around, because people are
in
probably too
short,
lazy. That's my thesis. Like people would be too lazy to play on Bitcoin, or like know where to play. I don't know.
if you have like a good overview of what you're doing there, then yes, it could be. There are some projects that I just kind of refuse not to engage with, just the way that they like do certain things, how they drive up engagement and how they do points and things like that. But there are some that I will tolerate just because I kind of believe in what they're trying to achieve. Like a lot of the restaking protocols on stacks at the moment, so Stacking DAO and Lisa Lab, I partake in, not with gigantic size or anything, just like a few stacks here and there, just to be a part of their up and comingness, if that even makes sense. And I think that's like a good thing to do. I think there's like other things out there, like you've got VV Digital, which is like a collectibles thing that's been around for ages. I actually don't know if they've released a token. I just thought about these guys because they're sort of like not advertised everywhere, and you can build a profile and collect digital Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, all that sort of jazz on there, which is very cool. There's also Stocks FC, which is like a trading stock market for EPL players, of which they like slowly release or IPO players, and then you can buy and sell them on the exchange. They basically have this like tokenomics where you can own players, you can own shares of these players, and if they perform well and make team of the week or team of the month, you get paid out in ETH. And they're so small, like their total market cap right now is like $1 million, and they've been building for ages. Like I'm sure with some fine tuning at some point, they probably will try and release equity to investors. They are backed by Coinbase, so that'll be kind of cool. There's just so much stuff out there that you can just keep exploring with, that at some point they may look to reward users, but you just got to keep, like, the one thing I really enjoyed noticing on the timeline is that if you were around in 2023 and noticed how dead it was, a lot of these applications were already out and working, and I haven't seen anyone on the timeline yet go, here's everything I did and here's how I qualified for everything on Sol, everything here, everything there. You always get like the post-mortem tweets that are like, oh, if you want to make the most of airdrops, you need to be doing this. No one's ever actually come to me and said, oh, I managed to get all the free stuff on BTC, all the free stuff on Sol, all the free stuff on ETH. No one's actually working that hard to keep going out there, to keep exploring. And it's not like you need massive size if you're willing to just like get pardon me. You don't really need massive size. You just need to get through that first hurdle of like, CBF, you know, like if you can just be bothered to try a few things, at least you're putting yourself out there to see if it's worthwhile. And that might end up changing the way that you view certain things, might end up changing you to change your bags or whatever. But yeah, still think there's upside there.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Awesome. Everyone, you'd be glad to know that I've secured us all Brotato Capital keys. So
thank you.
Now I roast you before.
Now go and buy our fucking keys.
Now go and buy our keys so we can
I just
dump
think
it
that's
later.
what Frentex. I just feel like that's what Frentex going to enable, is that you can just like swap and share your keys to other people and stuff. So it's just like, just buy all 5, and then I don't have to spend an ETH to try and get Brotato Capital back.
Yeah, literally. It already ran up to like 0.016 pretty quick. I was like, no, because all the bots jump in on it and people see it on the feed. But yeah, I've got 3 keys from my personal account, and I got 2 keys from the Brotato one. But we can all access it because we're all Brotato. But I think that, fuck it. I mean, yeah. Yeah. So everyone go buy it now. So
if you buy our fucking pass on Sanko, you get points, which will get you the next season 3 airdrop. So,
which will be good. So reminder:
if you buy boosts or if you buy passes, it's fair passes. That gives us money straight to our account. But just chilling.
Yeah, but yeah,
I don't know. I think new moon tomorrow night. Let's see how that plays out. I think everyone's become a moon respect next period of time being a good run, but if it is, fucking everybody start studying astrology.
Yeah. On that note, Swiss, I think it's might be a good place to wrap it up.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I think we were streaming for like 2.5 hours, maybe even 3.
Yeah,
as I would say, I'm a little eepy.
Yeah. I think we've had a good little crew here tonight, so thank you for everyone that's tuned in. We appreciate y'all. We will endeavor to get this on YouTube earlier this week, given that it's Anzac Day on Thursday, so I'll have some time.
I will be on holiday for 3 weeks, and I won't be on Twitter for 3 weeks as well, which will be good.
That's good, bro.
Like at most Telegram.
Could you nominate what picture you would want us to put in place, like your AFK picture, like I've got for Styx and Z?
Yeah, just put a Kevin, man. You'll be fine.
Kevin? Okay, done deal.
Kevin.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Perfect.
Yeah. I love it.
The greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Sweet.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. It's been fucking awesome. And it's really nice to just have like a consistent stream of people, tuning in and listening to us talk about this stuff. It's it's very heartwarming, and it's quite wholesome. It's fucking great.
Awesome. All right. Well, let us roll out with the music, because we didn't do that on the way in. But thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
All right. Purchased our keys.
Way.
Thanks, Chad. See you on the next one.